We're starting a new chapter that centers around objects and methods. Thus far, although Python is an object-oriented language, we've managed to avoid looking at that much. In fact, every piece of data, even functions and types in Python, are objects. And the term object-oriented is used to distinguish Python from earlier languages classified as procedural languages, where the type of data and the operations were not directly connected in the language. In fact, the functions that we've used so far mostly follow the older procedural programming syntax. Now we want to look at the newer object-oriented syntax. Since all data is object, each kind of object has a core group of operations that can be done on that particular type of object, and it's called that object's methods. For example, with strings. Here I can let S be the string hello. Well, there's lots of things you can do with strings. For instance, we have the concept of upper and lower case. Here we have S is a string. The dot is going to give us something that's directly associated with this string, something we can do with it. You see on the screen a bunch of things that are possible. In this particular case, we're going to do upper. That's short for uppercase. This will apply an upper function, essentially, to S, or in this case, because of the way we've set it up with the dot notation, upper is a method associated with strings. So this method will return a new uppercase string. Strings are immutable. Individual strings can't be changed, so this does not change the original string. It returns a new one, as we can see. There we are in uppercase. We can illustrate here that S has not changed by just checking S. S is still the one with the lowercase letters in it. Back in the tutorial, here is the general syntax for using a method. We refer somehow to an object like the string S. Dot immediately follow it, and then we have some method name like upper, and as with other function calls, we then have parentheses. Analogous to upper is lower. It will create a lowercase result. And think how you would then use it if lower is the method. You can stop this and think for yourself. But S dot then lower should produce all lowercase, and we got rid of the capital H. Back in the tutorial, another method is count for strings. So if S is a string, dot count, sub is going to be some substring of S. And this method will count the number of times it repeats. For instance, here I have a shell demo. If tail is the string, this is the best of times, we can count the repetitions of the string I. It appears once, twice, and 3 times. So tail, that string, dot count, the substring I, that appears 3 times. We can look for is. In this case, the I was with the S twice, but not this time. So that returns just 2. And of course, it's possible to look for something that's not there. We have this in the string, but not that. And so if we count the number of that's, we get 0. Another thing to remember is that there is space here. There is an empty space character, or a space character in the middle here. And that counts as a character, even if it's not visible. And you can count the number of spaces here. And so we count them here, and it comes up with 5. The dot is technically an operator. And operators have precedence. It's important to realize that the dot has the highest possible precedence. So look at this next shell demonstration here. Hello plus which concatenates with strings, and there dot upper. So we've got before this the plus and after it the dot. The dot has the highest precedence. So what is done first is there dot upper, and we get hello concatenated with an uppercase there. Of course, we can use parentheses to change the order of operations. And here, because of the parentheses, we're saying concatenate the whole string first and then convert to uppercase. And you see all in caps, hello there. Let's go on the next one to the shell and actually demo here. Here's another possibility. Think about this. What is going to be returned? I'll show you. It's 0. There are on either side of this x, we've got the multiplication sign and we've got the dot. The dot has the higher precedence, so this is what is done first. There are no xxx's in x. So this is 0, and this ends up being 3 times 0, and we get 0. On the other hand, if I remember, I can put my cursor on this and copy it. Let me now switch this and put in parentheses. And now you see, because of the parentheses, the first operation is 3 times x, which gives me xxx. And it is that string then that we're counting xxx's, and of course we get 1. A useful feature in the shell for methods is the dir function, short for directory. And if you give it an object or a class of an object, it will give you a list of all the methods. Now this is quite daunting here for the string. In particular, there's a lot of them here that have underscores before and after. The underscores indicate something that's specially tied to the Python system and are not things that are directly used by users usually, so you can skip all of those. But the rest of these are all methods that we can use. You'll notice among them are lower and upper. Okay? Oh, and counts in there somewhere too. There's a whole long list of things you can use. If you forget the names, you can always do a dir.
Thus far, we have been discussing just strings and their methods. The rest of this chapter describes many other kinds of objects and their methods.